Welcome, welcome, welcome. Today we are starting off this new year with a new episode of Conversation with the Gods. We have the regular faces of Deacon Dan, Mr. Wilburn, and Mr. Levette, also with myself. And today we are talking about it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And that's a great topic for this time of year with all the New Year's resolutions. Everybody start off with New Year's resolutions, but not very many people complete them. So let's start off with Deacon Dan. Introduce yourself, and let us know if you have any New Year's resolutions and how you plan on executing those.
Good morning. Good morning. Happy New Year's to everybody. I'm Dan Smith, uh, proud husband of Coach Deborah Smith, and it's been a blessing. The 2024 was a great year. 2025 is much a better year. I'm starting out by continuing to let myself be more vigilant and do more of the God's work and not let none of it slack up. But also in helping others. That's one of my goals this year, to help others. Because, doing certain things and doing in the business I found that a lot of people need a lot of help. So those that I can help, I will help, as long as they follow the guidelines. But I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to see all my brothers here today. And I thank you.
Okay. Mr. Wilburn, Coach Wilburn, you're next up to the plate.
Hey,
Introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your New Year's resolution if you have any.
okay, how y'all doing there? Happy New Year's, belated New Year's to everybody, that's watching. My name is Coach Dr. Kevin Wilbon. I'm an athletic coach. I'm also an author, military veteran of 24 years. I'm as an educator and a motivational speaker as well. And I just want to say, it's a blessing being back here, on, Conversation with the Guys, Build Your Best Life, with Deborah Smith. And it's always wonderful to be with these three guys, to talk about, the upcoming and relevant, topics that we're discussing, for young men and, single parents and young ladies as well. And my New Year's resolution, I normally don't make too many resolutions and stuff, but, I try to stay within, trying to do some things differently to better myself. And, for this year, I want to try to make sure I take care of all the things that's prevalent to me. One of the main things to make sure I get my son off into college, into a college where I don't have to pay any money and he can go there for 4 years and not have a student loan. So that's one of my, my main things. But thank you for having me. And I can't wait to, start discussing this subject.
And not the last, but at least Dr. Levette.
Hey, great morning, Derek. Great morning to my fellow brothers, Coach Dr. Wilburn, and who I still always call him Dr. Dan. So that's he got that kind of experience. So and he's always been a good friend. But yeah, of course, I'm Joseph Levette. I am 32-year retired military veteran. Currently, I work as a chaplain at a local hospital here. Enjoy doing that work. Love being able to. That's another form of helping people. So I truly love it. Of course, I'm married to the lovely Tony Levette. We have 3 children. We have 10 grandchildren and one on the way. It's a boy, so we know it's a boy now. We just had the reveal last week. So we have another boy coming. And of course, I'm always excited and glad and look forward to the time we spend here, because anytime that you're on the platform where you can extend your experiences and help somebody else, especially our young men, and it's always a joy and a privilege for us to be able to do this. And I'm looking forward to our conversation today. It's a very good conversation, good, interesting conversation. And, hey, as far as resolution, I don't particularly have a resolution, but I will say one of the things I did put on my radar for this year. I have my grandson who's going to be here with me with us for the remainder of the school year, and one of the things I would just want to be a good example for him and make sure that he understands, because what be it for me to be on this platform and then not share that same experience with my own grandson. So I'm looking to really mentor him and get him. This is his final year in middle school, and he'll be heading to high school. So I want to get him ready and get him mentally prepared and for the next year. So that's where I'm at, and looking forward to our conversation this morning.
Thank you for that input. 2025 has really been starting off for me. It's been a very exciting year. I've been on the cover of a magazine. I've been on a couple of podcasts. I've been on nationally syndicated radio. And so, as we say, the topic of today is not how you start, it's how you finish. And so, for the people who are listening, I am Derek Durden, the motivational speaker, coach, mentor, and just a guy who's been just pouring into the community and just starting to get some of the rewards, just to be uplifted, and because I've been uplifting others. And so, let's get into the topic. Let's start off with Deacon Dan. How do you adapt to continue to move forward towards your goal when someone that you're working with, let it be a significant other, business partner, or somebody who's already on a shared journey with you, they give up on you halfway? How do you continue to move forward when somebody you're working with has gave up on you?
Well, my view on that. First of all, when you get in partnership with someone and reaching a goal, first of all, you got to make sure that both of you all on one accord and go in the same direction. So if one has to drop out, then you got to have that backup plan, and you got to have the right mindset. So that means is one back out, you got to shift, which means if you're going to shift to achieve your journey, your goal, then and keep and then have a strategy. Sometimes you might have to change your strategy whatsoever, but don't let that deter you from not completing that goal, because you're midway, you're there. So sometimes a person falls to the wayside. Could have been an illness or whatever, but you got to have yourself set there where you got to have self-awareness, and you got to have that planning and that strategy. So if you said all those things and say revisit all those, you should be able to, complete your journey and continue to move on through it. It might take a little bit longer due to the fact that you lost a partner that was in there with you for us financially, but don't let that be a backstep. Let that be a stepping stone. So complete your journey, your goal, even if it takes a little longer. I know, most of the time you plan it out, say, we plan to be here within 8-10 months. You might have to add another couple of months on that to reach that goal. But do not give up.
Yeah, it's very powerful. I see you nodding your head, Dr. Wilbon. I'm going to
Yeah.
let you go ahead and get in there and say what you got on your mind.
Okay. To answer your question, I'm pretty much on board with what Dr. Deacon Dan was just saying. You have to have a game plan, a backup plan, and also, I always say, whenever you're in partnership or you're doing something and it don't have to be work, it could be school, it could be anything that you and your partner or significant other may be into. Make sure you have a backup plan. Like Deacon Dan was saying, have that the backup plan. Have a second goal in mind, just in case this goal does not work. Because although you may have a backup plan, things may fall, like Deacon Dan said, may fall to the wayside. You can have something else to veer towards, but never give up on what you're doing. for the simple fact, I'm not going to use the word a quitter, but, normally, when you start something and you should finish it, especially if it's something very, very important and dealing with, money, especially money or anything like that. But it is a way to get around a whole lot of things when it comes to, veering and planning not going the way it should go. So Dick and Dan pretty much said as much as you can really say about that. Always have a backup plan, whenever, something like that happens.
And Dr. Levesque, could you please just bring some closure, bring some your own unique perspective to this question and just pour into us?
Okay, so kind of the way I put it down was that first thing you do is you take a pause, take a step back, then you reassess, see where you at and where you need to go. And that go back to that whole having that backup plan. Okay, where I need to go. From there, you start again. You put your strategy in place. Now, and even if you have to, you rebrand yourself. Sometimes it takes rebranding because you might, it might be more of what the other person that was bringing part of more of their brand, even though y'all both agreed to it and work together with it. But now maybe you need to rebrand it so now it totally fits you. Because if you don't, then you try to run their brand, then they understood it better than what you was trying to do. So I would say, hey, rebrand if you need to. And if you got a good strategy and a good plan and you got that word we're going to use later, that perseverance, you stick it out, you probably will be fine. But you just don't want to wallow in it. If it happened, for whatever reason it happened, let it happen. And then at that point, now you know where you got to go. So it means that it's not over. It just means that you just need to reset and refocus and then, hey, go forward again.
Okay, you said a couple of things, and one of them was pivot. But we all know, and sometimes it be us ourselves, those individuals who start things but never finish them. So, Dr. Wilburn, talk to us a little bit about what are the underlying factors that cause individuals to frequently initiate certain endeavors but never really complete them?
Okay, I have two that that can answer that question. My first one is, you may lose interest or they can lose interest in what they're doing. And that's not something that's rare because depending on whatever goal you're trying to reach, things do happen. You have distractions, you have time constraints, all different kind of things that could hinder you or play a role in you're not being able to finish what you're trying to complete. And, also, the second one is a lack of focus. If you're not focused on what, completely focused on what you're doing, then that can be a distraction. That could, hinder you from completing things that you need to do. Everyday life brings numerous, distractions. You know what I'm saying? And then, it can constrain you, from the responsibilities of completing, your goals, and sidetrack you. So I would say, losing interest would be one for me. And then the lack of focus would be the other.
Unique perspective, unique. And Dr. Levesque, what are the underlying factors that people start things but never really complete them?
Well, the first thing I put down is a lot of times people want a quick result and they want quick money. And if them two things don't happen fast for them, they lose steam, they lose momentum, they lose focus, and it causes them, to be in a not so good place. So I would definitely say that's one for me. And I like Coach Wilburn. I got two. The other one is not seeking good advice from experienced people. Anyone that's been experienced in what you're doing, you need to seek good advice. If you see someone has a successful business, pull on them for the knowledge. Get that knowledge from them. Everybody ain't a crab. Everybody don't have the crab mentality where they just only trying to get up for themselves, not trying to help nobody else. there's people out there that will help you, even if they got the same type of business you got. Because guess what? I could send somebody to that person, and they can help them better than probably I could, depending on what they needed. And then vice versa. They might say, "Oh, I got somebody who very good in that particular area, maybe in the same context, but just a little different." So, that's the thing. It's the seek good advice, and then when you seek the good advice, you got to listen. You got to listen to somebody that's experienced. They're gonna tell you, "Hey, here's the bumps in the road that I had to face. Here's the hurdles I had to jump over. But this is what I learned from those." And then a lot of times that'll keep you from making those same mistakes, and then even getting into that situation where you do start back out somewhere.
Great. And Deacon Dan, could you please give us your perspective of what is the root cause of individuals who start things but never really complete them?
I think the root cause is not setting clear goals.
Mm.
They need to define this, specific objective of that goal. And also in doing that, they can break the goals down in smaller, manageable tasks. And, which would, clear deadlines. And, this will make the journey feel not so overwhelming. So when they get overwhelmed, then they're going to, they quit. And they quit because they did not set specific objectives. So that's one of them. And, my other one is, I guess, visual success. What your goals look like and feel like. If you can set those there and put them together, you start out something, you look at it and say, "Oh man, this is gonna work. This is gonna be great." But did you really sit down and look at it and see how manageable this is gonna be? Can I manage this? What's my steps I'm taking? If I do not succeed, then what do I need to do? So those are the two things that, I really put, set clear goals. If they're not clear, it's going to be hard for you to manage because you're going to hit an obstacle, and you don't want that obstacle, to bump there and be in your way. Let it be view your challenges and your opportunities so you can get by them obstacles. So, but like I say, set a clear goal. That's my main thing. Set a clear goal.
That was some very powerful and fundamental information you just gave us. And it really leads into our next question. In today's time, it seems as is the younger crowd is not going through as much as we went through. And it's kind of, I don't want to say it, but it's kind of like they're softer. They're not really having to face such hardships. A lot of us have created environments that they didn't have to go through the same things that we went through. And so how does allowing a child to quit when disinterested instead of facing the obstacle and gaining perseverance? If you would, Dr. Levette, would you please start us off with this question?
Well, I think one of the things first of all, is whenever you allow them to quit, it kind of appears to that you gave up on them. You gave up on them because maybe you didn't see that drive in them. You didn't see that motivation. You didn't see that commitment there. But the thing is, that's the point. You should take them back to what we did on the first question. You should take them back to that. Take a pause, go back and reassess and re-strategize, replan the things you needed to do. And then, sometimes you teach a child that quitters never win. I know that's sometimes a cliche, but it's a true cliche. Quitters never win. I mean, if you quit at something, you can't win at something that you quit at. It's just like football. You playing football, you the quarterback. You quit because you threw 3 interceptions and your team down by 4 touchdowns. You can't. If you quit, you don't have a chance to win. So those are the two of the main things. And then the last one I say is, they never learn the concept of that hard work pays off eventually. They won't learn that concept. If you let them bail out real quickly, or just because they not feeling it, or they lose that drive and energy, then they they don't know nothing about hard work. I think you alluded to that, Derek. Going into the question, they don't know that hard work, and if they don't know that it takes hard work, as they say, it takes hard work to make the dream work. So if you're gonna put that effort into it, then you'll be successful. But if you let them, fall by the wayside without showing them, hey, it's hard, yeah, but I'm gonna help you. Even if you say, hey, I gotta help you, I'm gonna help you. I'm gonna still help you and walk with you through this. We're gonna get the right people that can help you. But it's gonna be a little tough, but we're gonna make it. So you gotta give them that can-do attitude. Make sure they have that can-do attitude. So that's kind of my take on it.
Okay. Dr. Wilburn, you work with teens and children of different ages, and you see this. So I'm going to change the question up a little bit for you.
Okay.
How does it affect young men? Because most of the people who are watching us are probably single mothers. How does it affect young men when these single mothers cuddle their sons and not let them face certain situations that would allow them to grow into being, productive or strong young men as they transfer into manhood?
Okay, that's a great question, and you pretty much said, the answer to that. It does not help them grow when they do that. And the thing is, it's a mindset, and they should have, push them into a positive outlook, But like I say, it's a mindset. I deal with a lot of young men, I'm talking about from all the way from 11 years old all the way up to 18-year-old, and everybody have a different outlook and perspective on, what they're trying to accomplish and what they're trying to do. And everybody is different, but I always tell them to have a positive outlook, and have, resilience and, a determination. And in order to have that, they have to have motivation. You have to motivate them to do those things. So I would say, to the single parents out there, it goes right back to what Dr. Levette was saying. Things may not work out, but the thing is, you don't want to be a quitter. You want to keep going and reach your goal. Sometimes things are not, meant, for people, to get to when it comes, depending on what they're trying to get to. So I tell my kids this, never give up, but if it's something that you don't want to do, then, don't do it. But if you have a goal in mind and you're trying to reach it, don't quit, so, it's a mindset. That's what I would say to the single parents out there.
Okay. And Deacon Dan, you have raised some successful children who's went on and did some positive things in life. So what did you instill in your children when it comes to perseverance? Because in order to achieve some of the things that they achieved, they had to face some obstacles. What does perseverance look like when you're depositing that into your children?
Well, one of my pet peeves, and I'll tell them all: a winner never quits, and a quitter never wins. So that's why I tell them. And like all the boys, they play football, and I say, you go out there and play football, but when your condition period comes, when you come out there, especially, all you're gonna do is condition. You got maybe a month and a half condition. That's tough. How strong is you to handle those conditions that comes up when you condition your body, to be ready to play? Because your body's not conditioned, you're not gonna be a good player. You're not gonna get time to play, and the first thing you're gonna do, you want to quit. So I tell them, if you desire to do it, I'm gonna help them, give them the push to do it. But if they don't have a desire to do it, then I'll give them that choice. Hey, why you feel that, ask the question, why you feel that you don't, you want to quit? Why you don't want to go through with it? And if they come up with a good answer, they might come up with a bad answer. But the last thing is to it, what are you facing? How do you feel? Because you can push, I coached baseball about 6 years for the church. And I used to push the kids, but you can push them so far that they don't want to even play. For instance, I had most of my kids I coached them from T-ball, which was 5-year-old, up to the midgets. And there's a difference in that because I had my hands on all the teams. I had coaches, but I had my hands on all the teams. So my biggest thing in there, just instill in them, if you have a disinterest in the sports or something else, you're not going to achieve it without not giving it all you got. But you quit. So if you don't have an interest in it, I understand. And then let's find something else that you want to do. So that's my thing. Just keep them with, just mindset. And then, you have to just identify those triggers, and analyze what's they're doing or which way they want to go. I like Coach Whitman. He coached a lot of teams and players, and I understand how they are. And he has to have condition them. So, yeah.
Yes, sir. And so our next question, it kind of ties into the last question. The last question was about perseverance, but this question is all about commitment. So, Dr. Wilbon, how do you get your student athletes to commit to the goals that you have set for them? What does commitment look like, and how do you get those young individuals to commit?
Okay, what I tell my the youngsters and the kids that I coach and that I mentor, it's a couple of things. For one, the first is a promise. Okay, make a pledge to yourself. Give yourself time and energy. And make sure you believe in what you're doing. That's the first thing I say to them. And the second thing is, I'm willing to make a sacrifice. Commitment involves being, willing to sacrifice in anything that so that's another thing. And the big thing that I tell them, it's a long-term, obligation. Sometimes, you're not going to reach that goal or what you're trying to do, quickly. So just know you're going to be in for a long ride. It's a long haul, but never give up. Stay with it until, you get there. And then, if you do those things there, then you will, persevere. You will make, it to your goal. So those are just a couple of things that I tell my kids because, everybody's different. Everybody is different. Everybody want to take different paths or, some people want to take shortcuts. Some people want to just take their time. But I say, if you're true to yourself, you make a promise to yourself and you're willing, to make a sacrifice, it will happen. Just never give up. Dreams are made to come true. And that's what I tell them.
Yes, sir. Great perspective. Dr. Levette, you are a man of commitment. Obviously, you've been married for a number of years, so you understand what commitment is like. But in today's time, we see a lot of the individuals, especially on social media, who, if the relationship is not making you happy, then leave. So just give us your perspective on commitment and the power of commitment.
Well, one of the first things about commitment is you got to go into any commitment, whether it's relationship, whether it's playing sports, whether it's, becoming a doctor, whatever you want to do. The first thing you got to have is you got to have a positive attitude. You can't be committed to nothing that you don't have a positive attitude toward. And it takes staying positive. And then the other thing I would add to that is consistency. You got to be consistent in how you are. Don't be one day you're happy, the next day you gloomy, the next day you're so, the next day we don't know if we can speak to you. You got to have you have to have a consistency about yourself. And when I say consistency, that means you got to make sure that whatever you're doing, to other people, it looks the same. You don't look like you just keep flip-flopping on who you want to be from one day to the next. And then another big one for me is integrity. Have some integrity. And a big part of integrity for me is being first true to yourself. You can't be true to nobody else until you're true to yourself. So be true to yourself on who you are, where you are, what you can do, what you can't do. Be honest about it. Be honest to you and to others that you're committed to, or whatever you're committed to. Be honest. If you ain't putting, like Dr. Dan was saying, if you ain't putting that real effort into playing football, then be honest and say, it's just I'm not cut out for football. I want to play baseball. I want to run track or whatever. Because sometimes, and I kind of even allude back to what Deacon Dan said. Sometimes perseverance don't mean that it's over just because they stop doing that one thing. That perseverance can carry over to something else, because then now you got they know what they want to do. You see that focus in it. You see they willing to work at it and put that hard work and sacrifice into it. Then you'll start getting the results that they want. So those would be my things: consistency, positive attitude, and integrity.
Is this Sunday morning or Saturday morning? I
know.
You got a little passionate with that one.
Good stuff.
I don't know what to tell you, Deacon Dan, but you got to go behind him.
He can do it.
Go ahead and give us what you got, brother.
Well, I'm gonna give you 3: mindset, strategy, and self-awareness. You got to have that right mindset. And that's why I say manifest daily in your life. Excuse me. You got to have the right mindset. You got to strategize. And then what more I like, self-awareness. How you feel about yourself? Look at the things that your goals that you're trying to set, what you're trying to do. If you're not don't have self-awareness, then what I guess what pushing you to go through it, your genuine commitments. So yeah, you got to have that. But I always say that mindset, and when that mindset, you got to have a strong mindset, because one thing I say, you got to understand that setbacks are part of the learning process. Mm-hmm. View challenges as opportunity to grow rather than obstacles. So challenges, you say challenges. I can look at obstacle. Well, this block, but you got to challenge it. You got to grow. So you got to have develop that strong mindset. And I'm gonna leave it like that, because so much I've been saying. I mean, Dr. Levette and Dr. Wilson, and put me down here.
That's Dr. Levette going
to
school.
Oh, that's Dr. Levette? Okay. Dr. Wilson, you started off, though.
Yeah, exactly. Don't let him off the hook, Deacon Dan.
We went from the power of T.D. Jakes to the smoothness of Joel Osteen. And so let's go ahead and move right on to the next question. We talked about how people jump from one thing to another. But what does that say about you and your character? And what legacy are you leaving behind when you leave unfinished things in the wake of your life? And I want to see you bobbing your head. Anytime you bob your head,
stop bobbing my head.
Come on.
Okay. Well, with that question there, you don't want anyone to say, okay, because of that, you know, you want someone to say that you're unreliable, because that's what they're going to say, you know, when you leave something unfinished, you know, and you don't want to tarnish, you know, the type of person you are, you know, by not completing a task, you know, like coach, not coach, but Dr. Levette and Dr. Deacon Dan was saying, you know, there's a legacy out there, and, you know, you want to make sure that you finish, you know, what you started, you know, and then, you know, other people may perceive you as being, you know, untrustworthy. You know, that's another thing, you know, and let's say from a business aspect or school or whatever, you know, you're doing a, you know, an exam, or you're doing a project with someone, and, you know, they're doing their part and they finish their part, but you don't want to finish your part, you know, so nobody wants to deal with you know, a person like that. So by not completing a task, you know, or not finishing something that, you know, you start, you know, you will probably get branded, you know, unreliable, you know, and not trustworthy. So those are things that you're trying not to have, you know, upon you, or having people say about you when it comes to completing a task, you know. So you got to be motivated, you know, you have to have a goal, and the thing is, you have to finish that. So, you know, that's what I have to say about that.
Yes, sir. Unreliable and untrustworthy are two titles that I do not want associated with my name. And Deacon Dan, what does it say about you as a person when you leave things unfinished along your journey?
Well, it's just like in your journey, when you get a task, you have a goal, and you stop, you quit, and you know, the first thing person gonna look at, oh, he nothing but a quitter. We don't want, you know, we don't want to bother him, because we know what he gonna do. That's his legacy. He'll start, he'll quit. But you know, that's where you got to create accountability. You know, and create accountability, you can share your goals. And that way, when sharing your goals to the people that you're working around, or people that, you know, you like to get you to, they're helping you, then, you know, you can reach these. But that's one of the things you got to do. You got to push forward in order to accomplish what your goals or your tasks. Because I had officers that was under my supervision, they didn't push forward until I brought them in, and I sat down and look, I'm not going to do your job for you. This is your task. What efforts are you putting into this? And this is why I say, then the second time goes around, here's another assignment. I don't want to give it to him because I know he's not going to, he's a quitter. He don't put nothing into it. He's not reliable. So, but I'm going to get this guy here who I know is accountable, that he's going to get this task done. So that's one of my, I'm going to say one of my key things, be accountable. In that way, understanding that, hey, I'm going to give it to Dan because I know he's accountable. I'm going to give it to Dr. Wibbin. I know he's going to get this job done, you know. And I'll put Dr. Joseph Levette on there with him because I know with that, they're going to do outstanding work and it will be completed. So that's what I deposit into that.
So what about me? I mean, you named everybody. I don't understand.
Let me back up a little bit. Let me back up a little bit.
No, you okay. You okay.
No, you done said it. You done said it. You done said it now, Derek.
Well, see, we know you're the host, and we know that you're reliable. You would be the host if you weren't reliable. So
I appreciate you.
And he got that expiring mindset.
Exactly.
There you go.
Dr. Wilburn, you sure you ain't never been a janitor where you clean it up? Okay, and I need you, Dr. Levette, to bring that passion back and answer this question. What does leaving unfinished things say about your legacy?
Well, one of the first things that you would discover is that people will lose trust in your abilities. and they'll also lose confidence in your abilities. And when people don't trust you, they're not gonna really support you. They're gonna give you a shot. They might even give you 2 shots. But if you show that you can't finish nothing that you start because you wasn't happy with the pace it was moving, or you wasn't getting quick results, and then boom, you say, well, I'm gonna just take some time off. And once you do that, people are gonna lose their trust in you, and they're gonna turn, like if you start trying to start a little business or whatever, they're gonna lose their trust in you. They're gonna go to your competitors because you quit on them. So, and then they're not gonna be confident even when you excuse me, even when you come back, they're not gonna be confident. So they may be hesitant to come back to you, or they may not come back to you at all. So, and you got to realize that when you lose people and other people. You don't just lose the people that you had, but you use the potential people that they would have connected to. So that would be one thing. And then the other thing is it tarnishes your name. It puts that blemish on your name, and then as soon as they be like, oh, okay, yeah, no, I ain't Dr. Levet. No, he didn't finish that. He ain't even. I don't even know. I don't know if I can trust him because he ain't finished it. So why should I go talk to him about it? He don't know. What he gonna teach me how to quit when it get tough? No, I want to make sure that I'm going to the right person. So it tarnishes your name, and the name, when you build a name, everybody, all of us as men know when we were growing up, and I'm pretty sure most of us, if not all of us, we were told your name is your barn. Your word is your barn, but your name on top of that is your barn. If you you don't build a good name, you just gonna be out there flapping in the wind. I had another word, but I wasn't gonna use that one. But yeah, that's kind of my take on that.
And I'm gonna be a little transparent. When I was listening to you, Dr. Levet, something came to my mind. Um, I have a YouTube page that I was going real hard on for a while, and I kind of faded away from it. And listening to you, it just let me know, like, if I would have stayed consistent, the people and followers and subscribers that I would have got, I missed out on them. But not only that, but the people that I would have got associated through those other people, I would have missed out on. And it ain't just about the followers, it's about the impact. Right. If you don't stick to what you set out, people are not going to trust you. People are not going to stay consistent with you.
Right.
And hearing that, it just convicted me to a certain level. Like, it's time for me to get back into it and really bring my message to the people who really need to hear it. Because at the end of the day, what you go through, it's not all about you. Sometimes it's for other people who need to hear and who's going through it and have to relate to that.
Oh yeah.
And so just with that level of transparency, let's all show a level of transparency, either in a positive way or a negative way. Dr. Will Bond, what was the experience in your life where sticking to something gave you rewards, or not sticking to something hindered you in your way of life?
Okay, I'm going to go with the positive road, because I have had some negative roads, in my life, trying to complete things and get things done. But I'm gonna go to the positive one, and the one that stick out to me the most is when I started doing my doctorate degree. Um, I started out at a school. I'm not going to name the school. Started out at that school, trying to do my doctorate degree and do all the things I need to do. And from what I was told when I was there, is that certain people would not be there after a certain time. The professor was saying that, okay, we got all of you guys here now, but some of you guys won't make it, pretty much in those words, and I took that to heart because, I figure, I know it's going to be a hard thing to do, a hard task to complete. And I always say you're never too old to learn. So it doesn't matter, the age, or the person. If you put your mind to doing a task, it can, be done. But moving on with that, it was very, very hard, trying to get this doctorate degree. And then all of a sudden the school closed on me. And, I was almost finished. I was like in my third year, ready to get my fourth year out the way so I can get my degree. And I didn't know whether or not I wanted to stick with it or, or just say, forget this, because it's very hard. And Dr. Levesque can tell you, getting a doctorate is, it's challenging. It's very challenging. But the deal was, I made a goal, I made a commitment. And I said to myself, especially after that professor said, hey, you guys are not going to be here, to stick it out and do whatever I need to do. So I ended up going to another school, got a great counselor there, got a great professor, to help me with my dissertation, the whole 9 yards. And it was very, very hard, but I stuck with it. And I ended up getting my doctorate degree. And that was probably one of the most hardest things that I ever had to go through. But it was a mindset, it was a goal for me to reach, and I did it. And if I can do it, anyone can do it. Put your mind to it, stick with it, and just say, hey, nothing is going to defeat me. And of course, the first thing is, turn it over to God. That's the first thing. And that's what I did.
Powerful. And Dr. Levesque, you heard mine. You just heard Dr. Wilborn. What was the experience in your life, either positively or negatively, affected you when it came to staying committed and persevering, or not staying committed and persevering?
Okay, so I'm going to use kind of one that entails a little negative and positive, maybe. So back in, I think it was 2011. Well, let me go further back than that. Back in 1990, I think it was, before Desert Storm started, I had enrolled in college. I was getting ready to start taking some courses, because at that time I was actually going to want to be a lawyer. Thought I did anyway. And so I was starting some classes toward getting a criminal justice degree first, and then going on to be a lawyer. Well, I got enrolled. I was getting ready to start school, and guess what happened? Desert Storm happened. So I had to pull out of school. And guess what? Now, this is 1990. Guess what? I was like, this school thing ain't for me right now. I done tried to go and it ain't working out. And guess what? From 1990 to 2011, I didn't go back to school really. I did a little bit here and a little bit there, but then 2011, I made up in my mind, I'm going back to school. I'm gonna get my degree. Now, my goal at that time was really just to get to a master's degree, but I didn't want to take a long time. But here it was, 2011. I started out with my bachelor's degree, completing my bachelor's degree. I started out, but things happened. I had surgery. Some other little things happened. Moving in the military, the military, I was active then, so I'm moving around and transitioning from one station to another station. Different things was happening. I didn't complete it, but I still kept it in my mind that I want to finish my master's degree. So I went on, and then I think I completed my master's degree. I didn't complete my bachelor's degree to 2018. So from 2011 to 2018, I played around with it, took some classes here and there, and then finally in like 2017. It was, one day I was sitting at work. I was working in the Social Security office at the time. And the Lord really put it on my heart that you got to go back and finish what you said you wanted to do. Put it on my heart. So I left that job, went full-time student. And within a year and a half, something like that, I finished my bachelor's degree. The joy of walking across that stage, going and getting that bachelor's degree at Liberty University, it was like nothing I had never felt. And what was so interesting, our late president, who just passed away, President Jimmy Carter, was my commencement speaker at my bachelor's party. It's just strange to happen. But then I turned around and I started immediately on my master's degree, because you know what one of my professors told me at graduation? Don't take no time off. Go get it. Mm-hmm. And I did exactly that. And I started writing soon as the next course. I started in the summer. And I started on my master's. I completed my master's degree. Then, you know, that doctor thing just jumped on me. And I started my doctorate degree. And like Dr. Wilburn saying, it's a lot of work, a lot of challenge, writing dissertations, getting, you know, that dissertation was, woo, Lord, that thing will make you want to quit. But I kept with it. I stayed with it. I had to take days off from work to keep working on my dissertation and then doing things to get it right and get it accepted. But I did. And so that's the success of today. And it's so rewarding now. It's rewarding when your name can be doctor in front of it without you being a medical doctor or something like that. It's rewarding. So that's kind of my take. It can start off and have some negative points to it in what may seem negative. But perseverance is about keeping going. You know, keep going. Keep that old saying, keep keeping on, keep keeping it on. And you'll find that end goal. So that's my take on that.
And Deacon Dan, from your life experiences, I would like for you to share with us, either positive or negative, how commitment or not being committed has affected your life. And once you finish, kind of start out with the closing words, closing remarks on your perspective on everything that we talked about today.
Okay. Well, you know, the Bible says you're not to boast or pat yourself on the back and, you know, these different things you win. But I look at it like this, and my hat's off to Dr. Wilburn and Dr. Levette. I always say celebrate your small wins, you know, knowledge towards yourself for achieving milestones. I mean, there's a milestone that both of them, my hats are off to them, you know, along the way. And that reinforces a positive behavior and keeps you motivated. And that's a good thing. Okay. And also, you got to stay positive. Focus on the positive of progress rather than the negatives of setbacks. A positive outlook can help sustain your motivation. So that's the way I look at that. And you know, with Dr. Wilburn and Dr. Levette, you know, they done preach that sermon. And I just sum it up just a little, you know.
You closer.
So with that, I'm gonna go into again. You know, I'm gonna share my digital stuff. And one of the things I looked at, you know, breaking the habits of quitting. That's what I tell everybody. Requires intentional effort and a supported environment. By setting clear goals, developing a resilient mindset, creating accountability, and celebrating progress. You can push through all these challenges and stay committed to achieving your success. Remember, persistence is the key. So that's what I offer on that end right there.
Thank you for that, Reverend Deacon Dan. Next, we're going to go to none other than the Bishop, Dr. Levette.
That's right, Bishop.
Dr. Levette.
Listen.
Can you bring us your closing remarks?
Hey, listen. This discussion today, it has been just piles and piles of information, and good. I mean, just great information. And I think if the mothers, particularly single mothers, you share this video, this live, share it with your children, your nieces, your nephews, even your nieces, and all the young people, even younger people. They ain't even got to be real young, even in their 20s. Share it with them. It's a lot of valuable information that we share. And one of the things we all share from a place of transparency. We don't mind opening ourselves up and opening up our past to be able to help somebody else. Because I think a lot of times that's what life is about. You got to open up because people, the Bible even tells us they were overcome by the words of their testimony, which means sometimes people can't do better or get better if they don't hear what you done already went through and know what not to do, and then know what to do, and even know what to do if you do get off track, how to get back on track. So I think you got to go, it go back to all of them words. We have through so many key words out there. You've heard consistency, you've heard integrity, you've heard perseverance, you've heard, just word after word: commitment, reliability, responsibility. All of those key words, we said those key words because we understand those are the things that have gotten all three of us, all four of us actually, because Derek is successful as well. And it's gotten all four of us to successful and a good place in life. So I would leave you with, stay to the task, stay on whatever you're doing. If you feel like you starting to lose a little motivation, then go to somebody, call up with somebody like Derek, and say, hey, he's a motivational speaker. So you need some motivation. You need some motivations. You need wisdom, call Deacon Dan. You need some good instructions, call Dr. Wilbon. If you call people that'll help you, they'll help you and get you back on the mark that you're seeking, so that you don't become a quitter.
Yeah, we're in church.
It just come out sometime. I can't help it.
Yeah, we've heard from Reverend Deacon Dan, Bishop Dr. Levette. Now we have Minister Dr. Wilburn.
Okay.
Can you give us your closing remarks?
Well,
All right, Minister, bring it on.
Okay. My key aspects, of commitment, is three things, and it's going to be very, very quick. Be self-driven, be intentional in what you're doing, stay consistent to reach your goals, and just know that you're the one responsible, for upholding your own commitments, and just make sure you maintain that dedication, put time into it, and you're going to face challenges, but just know there's a light at the end of that tunnel, and everything, if it was that easy, everybody would do it. You're going to have to work for what you want and what you want to get in life, but the rewards are there. And if you want to enjoy the fruits of your labor, put in that time, put in that dedication, maintain, everything that you're trying to do to get to where you need to be. And it's just like Bishop said, the teamwork will make the dream work. That's it.
And you have me, the usher. I just show people where to fit.
I was trying to figure out something, but
I'm just the usher. Don't mind me. I'm just trying to help people sit down. That's all I'm trying to do.
That's the presiding bishop. Don't let them fool you.
That's right.
So this episode of Conversation with the Guys has been passionate. It has been humorous. It has been so many things. And I hope that everybody who has paid attention and gave their time to this episode really got something from it. I would be unjust not to shout out to Coach Ricardo Miller, but more importantly, the wife of Deacon Dan, Miss Smith herself. Make sure you go out and get her book, Build Your Best Life. Something that's impactful and really making change in the community, changing people's lives, helping women raise sons that are productive and really making a big difference. And so with that, this has been a great episode of Conversation with the Guys. I appreciate all you listeners. And just till the next time, see you later.